High in the cliffs of a forgotten mountain, an eagle lived in a nest carved by time. His wings were broad, his feathers gleamed, but he carried a heavy secret. He was terrified of heights. Each morning, he watched his flock leap from the cliffs, their wings slicing through the air with grace and power. They danced with the wind, their cries echoing across the mountains, while he stayed behind, talons gripping the stone. The drop was too steep, the wind too fierce. What if he fell? What if his wings weren't strong enough? What if he wasn't meant to fly? Fear chained him to the safety of his perch, a prisoner of his own mind. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. His siblings soared higher, exploring distant peaks, while he remained on the cliff. The other eagles didn't mock him. They were too busy flying, but he felt their pity. It stung worse than scorn. He felt small, unworthy of the wings he'd been given. He dreamed of gliding over valleys, of feeling the rush of wind beneath him, of touching the sky that seemed so close, yet so unreachable. But every time he edged closer to the cliff's rim, his heart pounded and his legs froze. The fear was louder than his dreams, whispering that he was weak, that he would fail, that the sky belonged to others, not him. Each sunrise painted the mountains gold, and he longed to be part of the world beyond his ledge. But doubt held him back like an invisible tether. One stormy night, as thunder rumbled and lightning split the sky, an old eagle landed beside his nest. Her feathers were weathered, her beak scarred, but her eyes burned with fierce wisdom. She was a legend among the flock, known for flying through tempests that grounded others. She looked at him, her gaze piercing, and asked why he clung to the cliff. He lowered his head, ashamed, and admitted his fear. The sky was too vast, the fall too far. He wasn't like her, he said. She tilted her head, studying him. Every eagle felt fear at first, she told him. The sky was vast for all of them. Fear wasn't his enemy, it was his teacher, showing him where he needed to grow. He shook his head, insisting he wasn't strong enough, that he'd fall. Her voice softened, but her words were firm. Strength was in his heart, not just his wings. The cliff wasn't his barrier, his doubt was. She shared stories of her youth, of standing at a cliff's edge, certain she'd plummet to her doom. Her first flight was clumsy, terrifying, her wings trembling as she fought the wind. But the air caught her, lifting her higher than she'd imagined. She spoke of storms she'd faced, winds that tried to break her, and how each challenge forged her strength. The leap was the hardest part, she said, but once she was in the air, she wondered why she'd ever hesitated. She told him of eagles who never flew, who let fear chain them to the ground, and how their wings withered from disuse. Her words sank into his heart, stirring something new. Fear was still there, but her stories were a spark in the darkness, kindling hope. For the first time, he believed he might be more than his doubts. The next morning, the cliff loomed against a sky ablaze with sunrise. Fear whispered its familiar lies, but a quiet resolve burned brighter. He thought of the old eagle's stories, of those who faced storms and soared. He thought of the life he wanted, not one chained to a ledge, but one of freedom, of skies without limits. He was born to fly, he told himself. He spread his wings, feeling their strength for the first time. The wind tugged at his feathers, urging him forward. His heart pounded, his legs trembled, but he took a step closer to the edge. The valley below was a dizzying drop, a sea of green and stone. Fear screamed at him to turn back, to stay safe. But he closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered that he was enough. With a single trembling step, he leaped. For a moment, he fell. The air rushed past and panic gripped him. His wings flapped wildly, fighting the earth's pull. But instinct took over. His wings snapped open, catching the wind. Up he soared, the cliff shrinking below. The world opened before him. Mountains, rivers, forests stretching to the horizon. His heart pounded with joy, not fear. He was flying. The doubts that had held him back dissolved, replaced by a fierce, burning freedom. He glided through the sky, weaving between clouds, the wind his ally. He dove and spiraled, testing his wings, his cry echoing across the valley. Other eagles joined him, their wings a chorus of triumph. The old eagle watched from a distant peak, her eyes gleaming with pride. He wasn't just flying, he was alive, truly alive, for the first time. That day, he learned the cliff was never his enemy. It was a challenge, a step toward his destiny. His fear had been a shadow, a lie his mind told him. The true barrier was doubt, and once he faced it, his wings were always enough. His flight was about more than soaring. It was about trust, courage, and choosing to rise above. He returned to the cliff that evening, landing on a high peak. As the sunset painted the sky gold and crimson, the world felt different now. Not a place to fear, but a place to explore, to conquer, to claim. Every challenge was a cliff waiting to be leaped from, a test of courage, a choice between safety and freedom. He thought of eagles who never flew, their wings wasted, and knew he'd never be one of them. The sky was his, and no storm could take it away. Everyone faces cliffs, challenges that seem too big, too steep, a dream too daunting to chase, a change too scary to make, a failure too heavy to carry. Those cliffs are steps toward destiny. Fear is a shadow, not a wall. Wings are waiting to be spread. The leap is terrifying, but it's the only way to freedom. Trusting oneself, taking that step, is how to rise above. This eagle's story is a reminder. The sky belongs to those who dare to fly. The cliff stands waiting. The moment to leap is now.